Naughty Seal Audio Perfect Drum 1.6. And when I opened this drum module, I was like, holy Hello everyone and welcome back to Mix Best TV. David here. Today I'm going to show you Naughty Seal Audio Perfect Drums, a new great sounding drum sampler and module. There's so many things I want to show you about this one that I won't waste time, and I'll just go right into it with the key features and what I like the most about this plugin. First, the sounds. The sampled instrument sounds absolutely amazing, and I might be biased because it really seems like me and these guys have very similar taste of how good drum kits should sound, specifically for rock and metal. The second thing is the ease of use. A very intuitive, no-fuss interface. One click, one function button for the most part, really easy to navigate. In only 3 main pages, drums, sampler, and mixer, you have all you need to build and tweak your kit. But other than the great sounds you will find inside this module, one of the most impressive features is the sampler. It's very unique, fully featured, and different from any other samples out there. Let me give you a quick rundown of the headlights. You have 16 pads, 16 instruments in which you can easily load your own samples, and not just one. You can create and save fully featured multi-sampled instruments, and you can share those with everyone, and everyone can play them with the perfect drum player, which is free. For each instrument you can load up to 8 samples, and you can do that for different sample groups: direct, overhead, room, reverb, and effect, which then you can control with this quick control channel here. We will see that in a minute. And I will also show you a trick that I came out with, something I will be implementing myself, something that I've been doing for a long time, but with this one I can do it so easily, which is adding weird sounds to your snare or kick. That's usually what I do. For example, adding a gun sound effect or an explosion sound effect to your snare, and then have full control over that layer from this channel right here. It's pretty cool. It's very easy to do this. And in the third page we have the mixer, all big knobs you can read clearly, and all the functions are there. The GUI is really functional and ergonomic, so to speak. With 12 perfect kits available, you can load one and then change any instrument sound on your kit just by right clicking on it, and then at the bottom you will see all the options available and an audition button to easily listen how they sound. And you can do this in real time while playing. These snares sound so good already, but we will take a listen to them all. Let's leave this kit open. I will play you a track and we'll scroll through all the different sounds for kick and snare. These snares, I love them all. They sound so great already. I will show you all the processing going on and what you can control from this quick control channel here. One function that I want to show you right away, which I find extremely useful, is when you're playing a track, you can solo the instruments in 2 ways. You can solo the mixer channel. By doing this, you hear direct, overhead, room, reverb, and effects. And you can change the instruments and keep monitoring all the channels. Or you can solo just the close mic from this other solo button. Let's unsolo and let me play you the track and we'll scroll through the kick sounds. They sound great. I love them already, even with the preset processing. If I was an egomaniac, I would say these guys really took a listen on how I mix drums and like build this thing kind of in the same style. But no, it's just that when a kit sounds great for these kind of genres, it's pretty obvious, and these sounds really good. But let's take a look at the quick controls: direct, overhead, room, reverb, effects. This feature here is so great to have these controls at your fingertip in the drum module page, and it's actually mirrored in the sampler. We will take a look at that later. But yeah, here you have for each instrument the controls for the level of room, reverb, effects, overhead, and direct. So if I put everything down but the direct, we'll hear just the direct sound from the snare. Then we can put overhead in, and we can also solo the overhead. Just listen to that. Room sounds amazing. It sounds really good. And you can see when you tweak the controls and you audition right from the bottom row, it keeps these controls like this. This is brilliant. I love it. Then reverb, let's put the room down and just hear the reverb. That sounds great. Put a little less reverb and add back the room sound. And then we have the effect. Now, this is a very unique knob slash function. This is a blend between the natural sound of the snare, of the kick or any other instrument, and processed one. So just by turning this knob, you get a collection of what are the most common and useful processing when mixing drums. This on snare, I can guess it's a combination of saturation, compression, and maybe a little top end, a little shape EQ. Let me play you the track and listen to the snare while I tweak this knob. We'll go from a natural sound to a more processed sound, but processed in a very good way. And even at fully clockwise, I mean, it's a lot, but it has a very wide range, so it's so easy to tweak and just add a little bit of processing while keeping the snare or any other instrument sounding very natural, but just a little more punchy, a little more gritty. It's really well done. What can I say? I'm just telling the truth. I really feel this. It makes me feel like it's what I do to my snares, like a little bit of parallel compression, slow attack, more punch, a little bit of saturation, just with one knob. Let's do that on the kick too. Let's do that with toms too. And it's really subtle and well done on some instruments like tom. Just a little more bite, a little bit of saturation and compression. I really love it. Let's scroll the toms sound for a second. Again, they sound really good. I'll just lower the reverb and the room sound just to hear them a little drier. That was tom 1. Let's do that the same, less reverb. I like them a little drier. They sound really good. I really love it. This is like my kind of drum sound. Floor tom. Again, let's lower the reverb for a second. Let's go almost unprocessed. They sound really good. But Audioseal's Perfect Drum doesn't only have great drums, as in kicks and snares and toms. It also have a big and great sounding collection of cymbals. Let's start, for example, with the hi-hats. Just quickly audition some of them. They are really nice and smooth. It's really hard to find good sounding cymbals, whether it's crashes, rides, hi-hats especially. These sounds really good. And you have a lot of options for positioning, left and right crashes, left and right chinas, rides, and 3 splashes. Let me scroll through them. China left. This is the crash. Left, position 1. That's a crash. These are really good sounding. We go on the right. Second position from the right. Then we have the second china. Listen to this. Sounds great. And then the ride. And of course we have different articulations. Splashes are really interesting too. And I love splashes. Bells and cowbells. So, but before I go into the sampler, which is definitely one of the most interesting and well done parts of this Audioseal Perfect Drum module, I want to mention and show you one of the most important new feature in version 1.6, which is the tune fader pitch shifter. This little tiny fader here allows you to retune your drums, and not only your drums, your cymbals too. It is great. It sounds absolutely great. It is one of the few drum pitch algorithm that actually sounds good. Let me show you with this snare. Let's tune it down and see how it sounds. It's so natural. Like if I didn't know, this would be the sound. It doesn't sound retuned at all. And when you set the tune fader, of course, if you audition other instruments, it keeps the tune. That is very important when you audition different snares. I mean, let me play you the track, and we have tuned it 2 notches down. Sounds absolutely natural. Let's put it back. And I love this because I love to down-tune my snares. Let's try with the kick too. It works very well with the kicks. It's very well done and subtle. Again, sounds natural. This kick is now being pitched up. Let's put it back to where it was. It's also a nice way to add some air and top end to the kick. It's really good sounding. And like I said, you can do it, well, of course, on down tune too. And you can do it on cymbals as well, and it works just as good. If you want a trashier hi-hat, you can tune cymbals. Listen to this China. Again, it sounds so natural. Sound even better tuned up. So really, just this little tiny fader here, you can retune all your kit so easily, and it really sounds good. This algorithm, this pitch shifting algorithm, sounds really good. Let me try with the floor tom. And you can really fine tune it. Listen to how deep this sounds, all the way down. Well, what can I say? The new feature in Perfect Drums 1.6, the tune fader pitch shift, is really a nice addition to this module. I will be using that a lot. Let's go into the sampler, because this is maybe the most interesting part of Naughty Seal Audio Perfect Drums. Okay, one of the things that makes this sampler so special is the envelope shaping section. So I just, for now, load this kick drum here. And you can see here you can adjust the start of the sample. See how much click does it have? I can just do that by starting the sample earlier. I can adjust the end of it. I can adjust the attack and the decay too. It can shape samples the way you want it, and you can do it with multiple samples. Now, one way I use the sampler for me is to add a sample to my acoustic drum kit. In this case, I loaded this kick. I'm gonna give it more click as it was before. And I'm giving it the same MIDI key C1 that we have in the kick drum. So every time in the MIDI track there's the C1, the kick note, it will play my samples on top of my kick. Without. And I can adjust the level of it. And of course you can load combine preset, save combine preset, and here in the kit designer you have the option to save sampler instrument and load sampler instrument, save and load sampler kit, export portable instrument so that you can play it in the player, which is free, and clear instruments and clear the kit. But now one thing that I want to show you is how to use the direct overhead room multi-samples. Like for example, I don't have many multi-layer samples here. Let me see what I have. Okay, I have a floor tom, so I have a close, and I will add, let's say, 4 samples for tom. So the engine will pick randomly from these 4 samples. Then I go to overhead, and I will load from the same collection overhead. Same 4. So now I have control of the direct and the overhead, and I can add the room sound too. So I will go and import the floor room. Okay, and if you have multi-sampled libraries, you can do that with snare, kicks, everything. And you see, you have control over all the groups of multi-sample that you have. And another interesting, great thing about this plugin is the mapping. If you go to the drum kit, and if you have libraries, MIDI libraries from other manufacturer, you can load drum map and see Naughty Seal Audio already made maps for all the more common drum modules available. So you have perfect matching. If you play a MIDI track, a MIDI part taken from, I don't know, Spirit Drummer, Easy Drummer, Steven Slate, and you have perfect mapping. So these are presets that come with perfect drums. Another example of what you can do with the sampler. Let's say I want to add multi-sample snare to my snare. So let's grab a couple of Rogers Dynamic sample, and you can now see them all in the sample list. Let's try to solo it. So these multi-sample, multi-layered sample snare will be added to my snare in the kit. To create very unique sound. And remember, I still have my kick sub that I added earlier to the kick drum. So let me show you another interesting way of using the sample group feature that was not probably intended like this. So I will import right now 3 different snare sounds. I can grab this sound for the direct, add another weird snare for the overhead, just disregarding the names at this point. We have this one and another one for the room. I'm just importing random sounds right now just to see what happens. Let's add another one, effects. So we have 4 sounds. This is in direct, this is in overhead, this is in room, and this is in effects. And I can, by using the quick controls, just blend each and every one of these sound the way I want it to my original snare. this doesn't even sound bad. And again, this is a silly way to use it, but you know, you can add different kind of sounds for different sections and automate them. And the quick controls used this way, it's just a trick, just a different way, but is intended, of course, to be used with multi-layered sample libraries where you have direct sound, overhead, room sound, and you can load multiple sounds for each and every one, and with a sample group control them individually. Then we have the mixer. I'm not gonna say much about this. This mixer is pretty basic. You have all the level knobs here in front of you. You have the mixer view switch for drums or sampler. You have channels 1, 8, 9 to 16. You have the perspective. Let me mute this one. From the drummer perspective to the audience perspective. You can show the routing. You can show the auxes. Of course, you can send auxes and do anything you can do with the usual mixer inside a module like this. So I guess this is it for Naughty Seal Audio Perfect Drums. This plugin is so intuitive, so easy to use. It's a pleasure, and it sounds damn great. The sampled instruments are among the best I've ever heard, and they just marry my taste so very well. So give it a try, let me know how you like it. Links are gonna be in the info box down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out the other videos, watch something else while you're here, leave us a comment, leave us a like, and I'm gonna leave you with this one by playing a track and scrolling through some presets, because these sound really, really good just out of the box. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.